So there's an expression that you use, or I've heard you use, which is only like a one-liner, and it's very sort of apt for the sort of things that we're talking about today. Do you remember the one I'm thinking of?
Yeah. I create in the darkness that I may walk in the light.
Creative therapy. Take one.
I'm here today with my friend and film collaborator, whose name is Richard Bambury, but he's better known as Fritzo Skennick. How are you?
Hello, I'm not too bad, thank you.
And the reason that we're here today is to talk about something which you've referred to as creative therapy.
Yeah.
So before we go any further, could you just give us a brief summary in relation to what that actually means to you?
My psychiatrist suggested to me at the time was start keeping journals of like what the voices say, paranoid delusions that you'd experience, all that sort of thing. So that's what I started doing. And with the voices, I'd sort of go through after and edit all the stuff that was being sort of said to me and that into like poems, poetry, that sort of thing. Like,
did it start with poems before the film?
it did. It started with poetry.
Because when Terry sort of said, "Oh, come along and perform this," the theme is trees. I was a bit buggered, to be honest with you. Didn't really know what to do with it. Like,
But essentially writing stories and scripts and stuff from like the paranoid delusions, because you know if it's something that could frighten me or scare me or something like that, then it's obviously something that could affect other people as well.
Right.
And something creative can come from that.
You've actually been a sufferer of schizophrenia for several years?
Yeah, 1992 I was diagnosed.
1992, that long ago?
I've been off medication now for, it's got to be ticking on 15 years.
Really?
Yeah.
So how does this, let's call it CT, right? Make it a lot easier,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
How does this CT actually help you?
Well, it sort of dispels those dark thoughts and stuff. You know, if I'm in a dark place, and I decide to either write a dark poem or a story, or I'll make a film. As you know, just from some of the stuff you've seen, I've done mental health films,
Yeah.
I've done like murder films, I've done horror, comedy, all sorts. It's just about getting it out of my head, so it lightens the load sort of thing.
So interesting, it's like a double-edged sword then really. You've got the positive creative aspect, which obviously keeps your mind occupied.
Yeah.
And you've also got, are you saying in some way this sort of offloads these things?
Yeah, unburdens the mind. It's kind of like exercising the demons, sort of thing. You get them out of your system, all those dark thoughts and everything like that. Suddenly you've got a creative outlet to get them out of your head.
So do you think that this is the sort of thing that could be used to sort of help other people with mental health issues?
Yeah, totally. I've known numerous sort of poets who suffer with bipolar, depression, schizophrenia, all sorts of things, and it does help them in what they're doing, because as well as sort of expelling the demons and stuff like, there's also the side of it where you create something and that gives you that lift as well, sort of thing. The fact that you've created something from such a dark place. Like.
So quickly now, you can boast exactly about how much you've done, because I know how much you've done, but tell these good people exactly how much you've done in relation to music, poetry, films.
Okay, I've had 10 books published,
Right.
6 of which are poetry and prose. I've had a novel, 2 novellas. I had an album out in 2005, which made it into the Independent Music Awards, which was basically to raise awareness of mental illness and to raise money for Ashgrove School, which was actually the only school for autistic children at the time.
Because your daughter suffers with autism as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also joined up with a mental health theatre group, Progress Cymru. It's finished now, but they produced 3 of my plays, 2 stage plays and an audio play. And I think film-wise, as you know, I think I'm ticking on for like 400 or 500 films now.
Of various length and type.
And genres and everything like that.
Yeah.
Funny enough, one of the other film groups I belong with, Dojo Productions, the 2 other fellas that I work with there, one of them suffers with depression. This Will suffers with depression, self-esteem issues, and anxiety. And then you've got Adam, who, like myself, is another schizophrenic. And we've been doing numerous films over the years since, well, basically that came out of the ashes of Progress Cymru. When that shut down, we carried on meeting up and making films and stuff.
The reason we're doing this film in the first place, as you well know, is because of the fact that we want to destigmatise this idea of people talking about having mental health issues.
Yeah.
And we've been part of a campaign called It's Okay to Say,
Yep.
which came about with a previous organisation we were both doing some work with.
Yeah.
And I think that the main message we've got here is exactly that people need to take that that first small step on that long journey. I think that, in all fairness, you have been very, very open about this ever since I've known you.
Yeah.
What can we do to make people feel that it is okay to say?
And lead by example. Get out there, tell your stories, do your writing, do your music. Because the creative therapy will speak for itself.
Do you see, and I'm going to embarrass you slightly now, do you see yourself as some sort of champion in relation to these particular things? What's your motivation for doing it?
Like I said, to lead by example, really, sort of thing. If people can sort of see what I'm doing and know that it's possible to do it, sort of thing, then, you know, anybody can get up there and do it, really.
The question I have to ask is, we're talking about this as a conscious thing, right? We're talking about something as you've given a name to it. You understand what it is, I understand what it is, and hopefully after we've made this film, other people will also understand what it is. Do you think that this is a conscious thing in people's mind, or is this just something maybe that they do that gives them these benefits without them even knowing? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of potential in that. I mean, a lot of writers write because they've got to get this stuff out of their heads, sort of thing.
And I think that the main object of this film, the two main objects of this film, are going to be the fact that we want to get this message out there, and obviously you are prepared to talk about it as, dare I say, some sort of ambassador or whatever, and also this okay to say thing.
Yeah.
So we did a project previously in a different life, as it were, and this came up in a workshop that we did, and somebody said it was okay to say, and I sort of grabbed hold of the strap line and thought, wow, that's a really, really powerful sentence, that it's okay to say. And I think what we need to emphasise here is the fact that it's no more complicated than that.
Yeah.
This is about somebody taking that first small step on that long journey towards recovery, or making their life better, or suffering a little less.
Every great journey starts with the smallest of steps.
Thank you very much for speaking to us today.
That's right, no problem.
I hope it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
And if we can get the message out there to other people to sort of make them a little bit more confident, a little bit bolder, then I think that we probably would have done our job. Thank you.
No problems. Happy to be here.
Sort of.
Toby.
Fractured persona makes me a loner. Fractured persona. Can you see my mind? Fractured persona makes me a loner. Fractured persona. Can you see my mind? Can you